You have to understand that some people will not understand. You faced fear before. This is just fear of other people not getting you. But we want to use our beautiful experiences as a means to connect, not isolate. But your job as an artist is not to be super famous. It's not to get a record deal. It's not to be liked. It's to create the thing that you want to exist and share it. So welcome everybody to the Mike Posner podcast. We're going to take some questions, but before I take questions, I first just want to offer a few distinctions and share a tool that has really been making a big difference in my life. And that's our intention with this podcast is to make people healthier and happier, or empower people to live healthier and happier lives. And so the practice I want to talk about today is self-love. When I hear the word self-love, I sort of recoil. I'm sure many of you do as well, because it just sounds so, I guess, selfish as well as kind of annoying. You think of someone who loves themselves, it's kind of like egotistical or out of touch. But I read 2 books last year that impacted me immensely. The first of those, which I highly recommend to everybody listening, the first of those was You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay. And Louise Hay posits in this book that pretty much all problems that we face in our emotional lives comes from the fact that we don't love ourselves enough. And so we can pathologize and therapize, but there may be sort of something that resembles a panacea, which is if we can learn to love ourselves. The second book that I read this year, or last year rather, that made a huge difference for me is by Kamal Ravikant. I met Kamal by chance. I didn't know who he was at the time, but he was just sort of glowing. And immediately we fell into conversation with one another. And when we exchanged numbers, he sent his name. I Googled him, and then I read his book. And his book is titled Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And it's another incredible, incredible book. In addition to these 2 books, I've developed my own practice. And I want to share this practice with you guys now and share the difference that it's made in my life already. This is the practice. It is gosh darn simple. In the morning, I wake up and I put on a song that moves me. For me, that song is The Blessing by Carrie Job. It's a live version. And I might have this song playing in the house, or I might have it in headphones. And I look in the mirror. And as I look in the mirror, I say to myself, I see you. I accept you. I appreciate you. I love you. 4 steps. I see you. I accept you. I appreciate you. I love you. The rule of this game is you're not allowed to stop until you feel it. And I'll just share that the first time I practiced this, I see you was enough. I see you was enough. I just looked in the mirror right when I would say, I see you. Something broke open in me. I started to cry. And upon reflection, I know that those tears came because I'd spent so long not seeing myself. I'd spent so long doing the opposite. And I want to address in particular the males listening. I think about males my age or younger a lot when I create these episodes. And there's a thing that comes up for us. It may not be exclusive to males. I've only had the male experience, so forgive me. But I think it comes up for sure for many males, which is we hear this mashugana, this craziness about loving yourself, and we get scared because we think we're going to get soft. We think we're going to lose the essence of our masculinity if we love ourselves. We equate masculinity with beating the hell out of ourselves. I'm no stranger to that. And look, I'm the dude, I'm all about you getting crazy goals, but there's a way to get there without killing yourself every single day. And so here's one of the paradoxes of life. Beating the hell out of ourselves actually makes us less masculine. It makes us less secure because we always feel like there's something wrong or a little off. So we show up as kind of touchy. We show up as insecure. We show up as uncertain. And it's only by doing this very tender thing, loving oneself, that actually you become more certain, more secure in yourself, and more masculine. It's a very trippy thing. The key to more toughness is more tenderness. So I started doing this practice in the mirror. It felt a little weird at first, look in the mirror. I see you. I see you. And I noticed after I started doing so, life just started to flow a little more. The edge came off of life. I didn't feel as guarded. Dare I say, life became more magical. And I've had the best months of my life since starting this practice. I exaggerate not. And so I wanted to share this practice with you because it's so simple and it's so powerful. And what are the caveats? What are the things that might get in the way? We might think, well, Mike, what about like the dog warrior determination part of myself? There's a time and a place to be authentic and real and honest with yourself and take like a real look at yourself and assess what you could do better. But we always want to do that with momentum, the momentum of love. And the truth is, you're a pretty great person already. I'm sure you got things you want to improve. I'm sure you have goals you haven't met yet. Guess what? You always will. Once you get those goals, you're going to have more. And that's beautiful. But you can love yourself the whole way there. And I'll share a bonus procedure. A lot of us have heard of affirmations or incantations. Tony Robbins teach incantations. And we think of those as generative statements affirming who we really are. An example of an affirmation, you guys may have seen me. I am joy. I am faith. I am love. That's something I say every day. And I say it with emotion and I say it with my body involved. You combine those three things, your language, your physicality, and your emotions, and it's very powerful to rewire your nervous system. But the practice I want to share with you today isn't affirmation or incantation. It's external reflection. And I learned this from Kamal's book. Whenever someone gives you a compliment, start a note in your phone and write it down. You might have a story about why this compliment is not true. Someone says you're nice and you internally you say, yeah, but if you only knew the real me, you wouldn't be saying that. But that's how you show up for that person. So I think of compliments now as external affirmations. It's literally life or God giving affirmations to me. Who am I to say they're not true? So I keep a note in my phone now. Whenever someone gives me a compliment, big or small, I write it down. And you start to see how you show up to other people. And actually, you're doing pretty darn good. You got things you want to optimize. I get it. That's why you're listening to this. You got things you want to do better. I get it. That's why you're listening to this. You got goals that you haven't hit yet. I get it. That's why you're listening to this. But it's important to recognize who you already are and how beautiful you already are. The difference you make in other people's lives. Your value now. These two practices, the mirror, saying, I see you. I accept you. I appreciate you. I love you. With the headphones until you feel it, and keeping a note in your phone of all the external affirmations that life or God gives you. These two practices, so simple. You see the smile on my face. They make a giant difference in your well-being, your relationships, your life as a whole. And here's the thing, guys. It's bigger than you. It's not about you. It's about the people you touch. The more you love yourself, the more you love others. Stephen Covey writes that in his book. The capacity to which you love yourself is the limit to which you can love another human being. So loving yourself is a selfless act. It allows your channel of love to be wider and flow more freely. It makes a difference for other people. It's bigger than you. So if you really want to be selfless, love yourself. And like you've heard me say before, love is like water. It's meant to flow. Most of our anger, our depression, our sadness, even our hate is really just love that we don't know how to let out. When love stands still, it turns rancid. So I hope these practices will help you. If you make a commitment, try them out like an experiment for 10 days, you'll never stop again. You'll never go back. So if you're listening to this, and even if you already love yourself, there's always more. If you're listening to this, make a commitment 10 days to do this exercise in the mirror and to write down in your notes all the external reflections, all the compliments you get for 10 days as an experiment. See what happens. You might find you never want to stop. That's been my experience. And the difference it's made in my life has been non-trivial. So that's what this show is all about, is just sharing tools that make a difference. And I hope they make a difference for you too.
So, when you find yourself in a creative block or you find yourself struggling mentally, how do you reignite that creative spark and regain that mental clarity to keep going?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you tell me a little bit more about what's showing up for you right now?
So, I in a space where I am starting a creative venture and I think of ideas and sometimes I feel like I hit a ceiling and I don't know what else is there and I just feel stuck. And I feel like maybe I'm doing a cliche or I'm doing something that I've already done and I feel like I'm repeating myself and I'm not growing creatively, or I feel like emotionally I'm just locked into what I'm doing and I want to reinvigorate myself and really find that joy in that creative process again.
Tell me what you're creating.
I am creating like a blog kind of thing, YouTube sort of thing, where I am capturing stories of music fans all across the country because I have found myself in many fandoms and communities, and I have found a community within them. And the stories and the voices of how the fans connect with the artist and how they found love within each other is pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And so I want to go to shows and meet the fans and hear their stories of how this artist impacted them. And so that's kind of my vlog.
Got it. And what's stopping you from starting?
Well, I'm starting it now. I've been starting
Okay.
it for the last few weeks.
Okay.
And it's just, I feel like it's been done, it's been overused, and I don't have a new voice or a new light to bring to it. But then at times I do. I feel like there's this inner doubt. Again, maybe I'm not loving myself enough.
Sure. Okay. I got you. I got you. I want you to know that the inner doubt of the artist, the feeling like my voice is not original, these are thoughts that literally every single artist has. And as Neil Strauss and Rick Rubin point out in Rick Rubin's new book, very poignantly, have you read the book?
No, I have it. It's sitting on my shelf.
Yeah, it's so good. They point out one of the things one of the distinctions they make in that book is that every piece of art you and I have ever enjoyed was made by people who had those thoughts and overcame them. So the thoughts are completely normal. I mean, I have those thoughts all the time. Every project is terrifying for me. I start a new album and I'm like, well, I don't want to do the same thing I already did. And I don't want to do what anyone else is doing. And everything feels like maybe some version of that. I have to work. And the only way I've worked through that is by working through it. But still to this day, and I think I have 12 or 13 albums or something when you count Mansions, I have these thoughts. So the thoughts are totally normal. And the key is to create anyways. And that's where courage and faith and loving yourself all come into play. Because the truth is, you couldn't have more of a unique voice. You're you. We don't have any other yous. If you don't do your project, that project won't get made. Now, someone might make something in that same genre, but it won't be what you would have done. And this is something I used to remind myself and like very high level artists at times when they get in creative blocks. Your job, and I've shared it on this podcast already, but it's worth repeating, comes from Maria Popova. Your job is to create the thing that you want to exist. Period. So you just go do that. And you don't need to worry about what other people might think of it, or if it's you just go make. If you think it's dope, if you think it's cool, you're on the right track. Is that helpful?
Absolutely, Mike. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah,
I
you
hope that
got
I
it.
can capture your fans' voices at one of your shows when you come to
Come
town
through.
sometime.
You're always welcome.
I will be. I've been to a couple of your shows already, and
Oh, great.
they're fire.
Yes, I agree. I'm biased, but I agree.
They're so much fun. You've got great stage energy. So
Thank you. Thank you. By the way, before I get on stage, every time I won't say terrified, but I'm excited. I used to call it nervous, but I call it excited now. Same feeling. And once I get up there, it's the best. It is the best. And so it's just a reminder, that most great things in life come on the other side of fear. And if we had to look at the root of all those thoughts you're having, there's some version of fear. There are different permutations of fear. You're scared. You're scared that if you do it, it won't be received the way you want it to. You're scared that if you do it, it won't come out as good as you have it in your head. And these are fears we all have. But great artists feel them and act anyways. So tell me what you're going to do.
I'm going to go around to different shows before shows, and I'm going to try to work with the artists and interview a few fans that are excited and see if I can get them in with the artist and make their dreams come true at a show, and kind of share with the artist how they touched people's lives. Because one of my favorite singers was Chester Bennington, and like with his passing, I ended up meeting a lot of friends from the Linkin Park fan base. They were sharing their stories with me about how Chester affected them, and it really touched me. And hearing more stories, I was like, I wish more people would realize how common the thread of music is with each other, and how big of a community we have within different genres of music and different musicians, and bring it all together so we can connect fans and artists together.
I love that. When we started our chat, you were saying, I want to do this, and now you're saying, I'm going to do it. So I appreciate that shift already, and I think it's a beautiful idea. I hope you bring that to the world. I know it would be impactful not only to the audience members but to the artists as well. And
Yeah.
we all need reminders why we do what we do. That's why I like this format, because I get to talk to people directly. There's way too many artists stuck on Instagram. They read a bad comment, and people don't know how much it means to get that love back. So I hope you go do it. Go crush it.
Yeah. Oh, well, I've been a fan of yours since high school. So, well, you were only a few years older than me, but yeah, you were in
There you
college, I was
go.
in high school. And I'm still listening to your music. Me and my husband, we literally listened to I'm Not Dead Yet on repeat for like a whole weekend. So there was like a couple weekends ago, it was literally on repeat. We listened to it from our whole drive from Austin to Houston, all the different versions of it, over and over again.
Awesome.
So you might have seen that on your Apple Music.
I like that. Thank you for the streaming royalties, Jasmine.
I bought the album. I bought it on iTunes, but I still streamed it.
I appreciate that. Hey, listen, God bless
Right.
you. It was nice to meet you, and go do it, girl.
Thank you.
Go do it.
Thank you for your time.
So I have been going through this journey of finding myself again and healing. And this move from Virginia to New York was kind of a big deal for me, because it's something that I've always wanted to do. And it's just like a stepping stone for me to continuing to be the person that I wanted to be. But also, in the same breath, it's kind of brought some things to light for me that I thought that I've moved on from. So, my question for you is there a difference between forgiveness or accepting a situation or a person? Like, do you need to accept to move toward forgiveness? So, if do you need to move past acceptance toward true forgiveness to heal and move forward?
Yeah, beautiful question. If you feel it would help me answer, you can share more about the situation. If you're uncomfortable with that, there's obviously no pressure. I can answer in
Yeah.
theory.
I would just say just different situations, family, relationships. I feel like in different retrospects you can apply it.
Okay. So here's what I've learned about forgiveness. You have to first feel the emotion, the hurt emotion. If you're like me, you want to skip right to forgiveness.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel the sadness, the guilt, the rage, the fear. And unfortunately, those emotions have to work their way through first. This is what I've learned. I tried to shortcut the process, hack my way through the process many times. And while eventually the poignancy and the sharpness of the pain may subside, and I thought, oh yeah, I've forgiven this, it's gone. What actually happened was a year or two down the road, I would get hurt again, and the first thing would come back. So like I had a relationship that ended this summer. And when it ended, I noticed I felt grief of missing my dad who passed away. I felt grief of missing my friend Dawa who died a year before, because I hadn't really moved the sadness and some of the guilt, frankly, that I felt from some of those things through. I didn't have the courage yet to feel those things. I called a friend and I asked him the exact question you're asking me. Where I was like, hey, I want to forgive like today. I want to forgive today. How do I do it? And he just said, hey man, until you feel the rage, the anger, you let it out. Forgiveness is a joke. Sometimes it's just the first step is just feeling how actually upset we are. And I started doing pillow work. Girl, I started punching the pillow. Yep, like my mom used to tell me to do when I was a kid, to let the anger out.
Yeah.
Because before I'd keep the anger in it, and the anger trapped turns to depression. Anger turns to sadness when you don't move it through. And so I've started doing, actually, like in the past year, I'm the happiest I've ever been, but it's the most anger I've ever expressed. I started going to boxing, and the first time I did that pillow, dude, I was scared from how much rage came out of me, because I'm happy, smiley Mike Posner, and you wouldn't believe the amount of anger I had pushed down, bottled up, and suppressed. So that was the first step for me. It's also, I want to offer you some love and compassion that, when you move to a new city, you're alone.
Yeah.
It takes a while and I've moved a lot. My mom says I move houses like I change underwear.
My mom says the same thing. I'm constantly on the go.
Yeah. So if you're zoomed out looking at yourself, it make total sense. You move to a new place. You may know some people, have some friends, but you don't have your routine, your rhythm with friends. You go down the street, you don't know that person at the corner store yet. And so I would also want you to give yourself some grace, because what I hear from you is that you have a very high bar for yourself. You have a very high standard for yourself that you want to meet. That's why you would even ask a question like that. And I just want to tell you, it's okay to feel how you're feeling. In fact, if you were me looking at you, you would say, oh, this is so, of course you feel like this. Move to a new place. It's a huge change. You don't know anybody. Of course that would bring up emotions. And so my prayer for you is that you give yourself love, you give yourself compassion, you give yourself patience.
Thank you. Yeah, it's crazy just watching your journey from your EP that came out like my freshman year of college to like
Hey,
now. Yeah.
hey.
So I feel like there's some similar trajectory of me just like wilding out, like having fun, to me just really taking the time to self-reflect that journey to where I'm at now and how I've grown and how I'm thankful for the past because it's helped who I am today, but also like healing those wounds along the way to ensure that I become a fuller version of myself.
I love it. Do you want to work on one of them?
Sure.
You want to work on a wound?
Let's do it.
Let's pick one. Pick the worst one.
Oh God. Okay. Do I have to say it?
Yeah. You don't
Okay.
have to do anything, but if
Yeah.
you want to, you can.
Okay. I guess something that like resurfaces just like the father wound that I've thought that I forgave him, but that's where I asked about like the acceptance. Like, is the acceptance just a band-aid for forgiveness?
And you feel like, what does acceptance mean to you? And when you're using that word,
Just accepting the relationship that we have, accepting who he is.
And he's not the way you wished he was. It's a pain I don't know. But what I do know is if he had been the way you wanted him to be, you wouldn't be who you are. And what I also know is that you have gifts to share because of that. Even the feeling you have right now is the seed of a gift that you will share. The pain, it's real pain. And I feel your commitment to learning the lesson from it.
Absolutely.
I feel your commitment to find what the reason for that pain is. You're learning lessons still to this day that you will pass on to others that will make an impact on them from this very scenario that will be so large in scope that it will baffle even you. You're either winning in life or you're learning. Right now you're learning. I don't have a magic thing to make the pain go away. No one does. But I'm confident in how you show up today. It's my impression of you. You can refute it, but how you show up to me is someone who's committed to their own growth.
Absolutely. 100%.
And you've overcome some things.
Yeah.
So you will overcome this just like you overcame all of those other ones. And you will look back on this as a gift. You will thank God this happened because of what you learned from it.
Absolutely.
So that's all I got for you.
It's a lot. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I love you.
I love you for a long time.
If I pray for you, what should I pray for? Happiness
And good health in all aspects of life. I'm super like umbrella. I get called out all the time by my friends.
Let me fit all of them in that prayer.
Just like whatever like the raindrops catch, like it's cool.
That's awesome. Well, I absolutely will. And I'm sure the people listening live and on this recording will offer up that same prayer for you. And you're so loved. And this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
So my question's kind of a two-parter. The first one is, while I was on trail, I had a lot of people reaching out being like, I could never do this. I could never hike, thousands of miles. And my answer was always like, you can, and you just have to want it. So now that I have my goals, I'm starting to share on social media to encourage everyone to go outside and to, however that is. I'm not saying that everyone needs to go walk thousands of miles, but just to go outside and explore in your own personal way. Now that I have those goals set up for myself, my anxiety of showing up in front of an audience of people now watching what I'm doing, or how do you get past the anxiety or those people that you just piss off online and just come at you? Like how do you just block that out and keep doing you?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two things. One, thank you for the question, and you're so awesome. You
Oh
are
my
so
God,
awesome. Yeah.
thank you.
um,
Come hiking with me.
I will.
Please do.
Don't tempt me with a good time.
Man, I'm coming to Colorado in
You know,
July.
a smelly bearded Jewish guy next to you. So the first thing is not directly what you asked, but I want to just provide this distinction just in case.
Okay.
Something that came up for me as I unlocked these new parts of myself, these tougher, more beautiful, frankly, deeper parts of myself on these long journeys, which I'm sure you've experienced, which is why you keep going back to them. I was so enamored with the transformation that was taking place in myself. And then you have someone speak to you and say, I could never do X, Y, and Z. And the limitation in their speech pattern just reeks to you now, because those were the very patterns you used to have, but you have transcended.
Yes.
And it just really smells like a big pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
When you've like spent 6 months or however many months listening to those voices saying you can't, every day beating them back down and going anyways, to hear someone sit at home and say, you know, I can never do that. It's like you want to like smack some sense into them.
Yeah.
But this is the wrong approach I found. We always want to be using our experiences. And in our case, we have some experiences that overlap in the long journey. But we want to use our beautiful experiences as a means to connect, not isolate.
Okay.
And so I've messed this up tons of times where I come off Mount Everest and I'm feeling like I'm better than everybody now. Or I hear somebody talking like these people and I'm like, they just don't get it.
Yeah.
And what I'm doing is I'm isolating. I'm creating a hierarchy. I'm going, I get this concept and they don't. It doesn't even feel good like to myself when I do that. So it's natural, because what we're feeling, what you're feeling, what I feel, you know, it comes up for me still often. What we're feeling in that moment is our old self. Those are how our language used to be.
Yeah.
And we don't want to go back to our old self. It's like the word that thought is repulsive to us because we've tasted something else. And so I just encourage you and me to, every time that comes up, because it's not going to turn off immediately, to return to, how can I connect more? How can I be of service? What does this person need? Hey, I detect a limitation in their speech, which may be an indicator of limitation in their beliefs, which may be an indication of limitation in their lives.
Right.
Okay, so how do I serve them? That has made my life better. That has made my life better.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Okay.
And that's the one you didn't ask for. The one you did ask for is the anxiety that comes up when putting yourself out there. The words we use really matter. Just like those people whom I just addressed were using words that may be reflective of limitation, the word anxiety is actually doing the same thing for you.
Yeah.
So we want to change that word.
Okay.
Because when I first started my career, I'd be about to walk on stage and my heart would start beating, my throat would get dry, my palms would start sweating. And I go, dude, I'm nervous. I'm nervous. And if I was a real pro, I wouldn't be nervous right now. If I actually was supposed to be doing this for a career, I wouldn't feel this feeling. Now, as I got older and a little wiser, I feel the same thing to this day. If I have a show right now, my heart will start beating, my throat will get dry, and my hands will get sweaty. But I'm not nervous. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited. And it's not a signal that I don't belong. It's a signal that I still care.
Yeah.
So I don't think you need to change a gosh darn thing in your physiology, in the feelings you have, the emotions that you have that come up. I just think you need to change the words you attach to them.
Yeah. So like, that makes 100%. And like
Yeah.
when people ask me, why do you put your body through this? Or why do you do this? And I think my answer is not the best answer I'm giving to people, but the only thing that I can think of is that that's how I've healed the trauma that I have had, is to put my body through the ringer to know that I am capable of doing it. And I think my father passed away, and I dealt with just different family members passing away very quick in my life. And I just never got over it. Not that you should, that was wrong. I shouldn't have said got
There's
over
no wrong.
it. That was not how I meant that to come out.
It's all good.
No. I had to, as an adult, I had to figure out something to heal that was healthy. And I see a lot of people choose not the healthiest options. And I don't really know how to word that to people, to like, I had to do this. I have to do this to save myself, to save my mental health, to be passionate about life. And I just don't really know how to word that to people, that they don't look at me like, like, poor you. I don't know how to, I don't know. I don't know how to get over that part of that. So
The wording doesn't matter as much as where the wording is coming from.
okay. Yeah.
You are the answer. Your life is the answer. But who you are now, how you show up, someone who has healed themselves, that's the answer to their question. You have to understand that some people will not understand.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's okay. This is beautiful because this is what the walks are training you for.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you felt a lot of fear before you started. Every day, body starts feeling weird. Oh my God, should I keep going? Should I quit? Am I messing myself up? You faced fear before.
Yeah.
A lot. And this is just fear of other people not getting you. And you'll get over it. And you'll find your own tactics. Like, me, as much as I love connecting with all you guys, I don't keep the apps on my phone. I don't read the comments because it doesn't make me feel good. Yeah. and it probably is people that wouldn't even like wouldn't even say that to you in real life.
Yeah. Or have never attempted to do what I'm doing and tell me I'm wrong for doing it. And yeah, I definitely need to like just step away from social media when it comes to that. I think I think social media is a good way for people to put other people down where they are maybe afraid to do things in their own life. So it makes them feel a little bit more accepted about that. So I've been trying to have that mindset but I still want to show up on social media, because I'm hoping, even if I can just change or help one person get outside and allow it to change their life like it changed my life, I will be complete. I will feel good. I will know that I helped that one person get over or overcome what trauma or hurt that they had as well. It's just ignoring the other people that say things.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet you already have inspired more than one person.
I hope so.
And you said something interesting, which was, I need to step away or change your relationship to social media. So What do you think the answer to your question is? What do you think you should do?
Probably go hiking more. No, I just have turned, like, my page is mostly for I'm a solo backpacker, so I try to I think that's where a lot of the hate comes from, because it's like half of the people are like, you're a woman, you shouldn't be on the trail by yourself, and the other half is that you shouldn't be telling people that things are dangerous on trail, which is silly both ways, because you have to be safe, but you also can't let people hold you back. So I think it's just about caring about what people are saying. And I don't know, just this little 3-minute conversation kind of made me realize that it doesn't really matter.
Nah.
So it doesn't matter.
You're so much bigger than that. It always hurts when someone doesn't see you the way you see yourself, especially when you're well-intentioned.
Right.
It hurts me. So, like I said, the emotions that you feel are normal.
Okay, yeah.
Like, I feel the same way if someone's like, man, you're a piece of shit. Like, I'm sure some people will say that about this, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good, but we don't have to let that stop us.
Right.
And you never have.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even think you have anything to worry about, because you never will.
No, I'll never stop.
Yeah, you'll never stop. But we also want you to share your message.
Yeah.
And so, like, I don't know if this matters to you coming from me, but you have an important message. And there are levels of love.
Mm-hmm.
There's loving someone when they do whatever we want.
Yeah.
There's loving someone who we sort of trade with. We do stuff for them. They do this same amount of stuff for us.
Yeah.
The next amount of love, we love someone unconditionally. And the deepest layer is we love those that hate us.
I like that. Yeah.
So
wow.
I think what might be especially evocative for you about hearing this is it may remind you of some part of yourself. We all have a judgmental part of ourselves. We all think of, and so it's loving yourself, like I talked about at the beginning of the episode, and then hearing what's underneath the words. Anyone responding with vitriol to a stranger is in some kind of pain.
Yeah.
And it's probably not so dissimilar from the pain that caused you to walk in the first place.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And I also said earlier, love is like water. And so this anxiety that's come from this hurt is really deep down love that you have for these people because they're you.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful.
It really, that's a really amazing outlook to look on that, because I mean, when it comes down to it, they need what I needed a few years ago.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so you just keep them in your heart.
Yeah.
And listen, they might not get it in the form of the walk, your walk. Right. They might not get it from you. You might plant a seed and they get it from someone, but you just keep them in there and keep them in your heart. I say, I love everybody, even the people I don't like.
Yeah.
So that's all, man. You're so amazing. And thank you for sharing your story with us, sharing your miles with the world. And God bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I decided to push my music again. And I'm super, super scared. I'm really scared. I don't want to have, people laughing at me and telling me, wow, you were old 15 years ago. What about now? And how do you get over that deception and that negativity? And it's a little bit like like the last caller, Kaylee, in terms of how do you get over that? And you being in the industry would understand more than anybody else. I'm nervous. I'm taking the next step. I'm releasing a new record. I had a record 15 years ago. There was no social platforms back then. It was hard to push. I couldn't get signed. And now it's different, but I'm dealing with 100 million people who are releasing new things every day. And I'm just nervous of how I'm going to react and how my family would react in terms of, wow, can't you just quit? You did what you had to do. You're good. We know you have talent. Give it a rest. If God wanted you to be successful 20 years ago, he would have made you successful. And I don't want to go on that pretext. So my question is, how did you get over it after you just kind of like let us know with the last caller how your hands were sweaty and palmy and stuff like that?
It's never gone away from me. I always have had fear around everything that I've released. I'm committed to growing as a writer and an artist. So every album I feel like I'm starting over because I am. I'm usually divorcing the sound I had before so completely that I'm like, oh my God, I'm definitely going to destroy my career with this one. And I have the same answer for you, I believe, on the first guest, which is I always go back to Maria Popova, who says, your job is to create the art that you want to exist in the world. And what I'm hearing now is a lot of reasonable fear that anyone in your position would have. But your job as an artist is not to be super famous. It's not to get a record deal. It's not to be liked. It's to create the thing that you want to exist and share it. And so you have a gift, it sounds like. It sounds like if, you're working with Celine Dion and you have a gift. You can't always control how you share the gift. You can just share it. And so you may put out your next album and it may be the biggest success the world has ever seen. It may be the opposite. I don't know. You don't know. All you can do is share your gift. And the past is done. What happened with the industry, and like you said, I don't want to go into it that pretext. So all you do is do your best. You're gonna go. You put your heart and soul into this album. You go share it with as many people as you can, and the rest is in God's hands. You can't control that. You can't control what people say about it. You can't control what people say about you. These are all very normal things for an artist performer to feel. I feel them all the time, but you have to go anyways. If I could wish one thing for you, it would be to release any expectation or need to control how other people perceive you and your work. Being an artist could take a lot of different forms. We don't have to be Celine Dion. There's only one of her. There's only one of me. There's only one of you. And you always be an artist. You may express that in different ways as your life changes. And that's okay. And so while you may not get your particular goal or have gotten your goal in the past, I do believe that eventually, and even now, you're right where you're supposed to be. You have the opportunity to touch people with your gift. Is that helpful at all?
Yeah. I mean, I've learned to accept the circumstances. I mean, I have four grown children who are married. I'm extremely blessed with the outcome of how my kids have turned out, considering that I did something selfish 15 years ago and wanted to do something for me because I did put everything on the sidelines to get married and raise kids. And I've learned to accept, like, especially now, like, the whole notion of being famous doesn't, I mean, I think when you're an artist, you always want to have, you're always expecting the best and expecting to get the success. And obviously, success is obviously not happiness because especially in the industry, success comes with so much baggage. I think at this point, I just want to, like you said, I want to make music. I want to continue singing. I want people to continue hearing my music. I don't care if nobody knows who I am. I don't care if I don't get it. There was a time when I did. I'm not at that stage anymore. And I think that comes with age. I'm also very, like, I'm set in my ways. Like, if you ask me to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning for or I don't know, an interview at 8, I'll say no because I like my sleep. But I think I'm a little more content now. And for me, I think it's just I'm a very sensitive person. I'm a very giving person, and that's always been who I was. So with that being said, I tend to take harsh criticism to heart. I'm a true Canadian, so Canadians have, we wear our hearts on our sleeves. And I'm nervous on how it would affect me if the reception, or if once if I put out the music on Instagram or TikTok or whatever, and then I have negative comments, I don't know how to deal with that. And maybe it's because I've always been, in a good place in my life, growing up, having kids, making good music, and but like I said, you come to LA, and it's like I'm a product of the '80s. If you got known from an A&R. It was in the clubs. It wasn't.
Yeah, but let me stop you. You know how to deal with it. You know how to deal with it.
I hope I do.
Look, you've made it this far in your life. I think your soul and your heart are a little stronger than an Instagram comment or a TikTok comment. Mm-hmm. And you got to decide. You can either share your gift, and you got to face some fear to do so, which in this case is your fear of criticism, fear of not being liked. We all have this fear, which is really fear of not being good enough. Mm-hmm. Every human has it. Or you can give up on your music. It's that simple. Yeah. And we both know what the answer is. You're going to pick this one. And I'll tell you what.
In my car 24/7. It's like,
listen, I'll tell you what. The thing that's going to help you is to do the 10 days.
Yeah.
Like I said at the beginning, because the more you look in that mirror and you give yourself love, the less you're going to give a shit about what some fucking stranger says behind a keyboard. And by the way, they haven't even said it yet. It's all in your head. And so you, as an artist, a being, you're unlimited. You have mountains of strength inside. You're a child of God.
Yeah.
You're so much stronger than a TikTok comment, frankly, that hasn't even been written yet, may not be written. This is just a thought pattern that happened 15 years ago when someone said something mean to you in LA. So you're about to put this music out now, and the same emotional pattern that you felt then is being triggered now. So guess what? It's time for you to get over that. It doesn't mean you're going to make it disappear. You're just going to stop listening to it. And this is bigger than just your album. It's time for you to feel that old emotional pattern and go, hey, thank you. I see you. I feel you. You're not going to stop me though. I'm going to follow my heart. God gave you a heart to figure out what to do and a mind to figure out how to do it. Not the other way around. And so this is it. This is beautiful. This is exactly the lesson you're supposed to be learning right now. And I believe very strongly that those two practices, the mirror work and the notes, will be your antidote to fear of Instagram comments. I mean, what are we talking about here?
I know. Again, I'm not your average singer who I'm 55.
Who wants to be an average singer?
I'm 55, and it's like I come from a crazy community. I was raised in a very traditional Orthodox upbringing, and I come from, and obviously the people I don't know, it's easy to kind of just say, okay, I don't know you, like Instagram, TikTok follow, you don't know them. And sometimes it's the people that you know, or the people that in your community, or people, and it's always been this fear of, okay, am I making Am I making a fool of myself at this stage? It's still doing pop R&B songs, with a couple of rappers on the side. And it's just, it's I don't know. I don't want to be, I just don't want to regret it and look back and say, okay, maybe I took it a step too much. Like, okay, did it in my 20s, did it in my late mid 30s.
You like the music you're making?
I love the music I'm making. I love it.
Okay. So you're either going to be liked by these people or you can be loved for being you.
Yeah.
Which one?
I want to be loved for being me.
So go be you.
I want to be loved for who I truly am. I mean, this is the real me. I'm still, I might have a certain age, but deep down inside, I mean, I feel like I'm 25, I feel like, I can, I mean, I've always had this young at heart, mentality. And I think it stems from the music, since.
You don't got to justify it to me. You got to justify it to me. Look, I'm old too. I'm 30. I'm about to turn 36.
You're not old.
Yeah, but look, many of the people that sit in the hot seat of music are 17. They're 19. I meet them and they say, I listened to you when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
I get it. I feel old all the time in this industry. It's nuts. And that doesn't mean I'm not going to share my art. That doesn't mean I'm not going to share my gift. God gave you a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So you share it. And if other people have a problem with you sharing it, it doesn't really matter. And frankly, it's mostly in your head right now.
Okay, thank you for confirming that.
Yeah. So just go. Look, and there's nothing wrong with it being in your head. We all get in our head, but just you can't let that drive the ship. You got to let the heart drive the ship, and you will.
That's a good pep talk for me, seriously, because I have a show tomorrow night, and it's fine. But I get back to LA on Thursday, and I'm back in studio, and I don't want to be. I always have at the back of my head, am I wasting my time? Should I be doing something useful, productive? And that's my thing, because this is, again, it's the second time around, and it's do or die at this point. It's like, I mean, I don't know.
But it's not do or die.
I know it's not, but
it's not do or die.
We live in LA, and LA it's so hard. I mean, it's just so hard to especially with so many social platforms that we have today. And like I said, I'm a product of the 80s. If you got found in a club from an A&R. Today, you see the talent.
Listen. I love you. I love you. But I'm not going to keep listening to all the reasons why it's hard.
Okay.
I'm not interested. I don't even think you're interested.
No.
This is just the torture that you could subject yourself to inside. So listen. It's not you. It's not you. It's one part of your brain that's scared. And it's okay. We all have it. But you're going to go share your gift. The rest is not your job. It's not your job.
I need to talk to you every night.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't need to talk to me every night, because the answer is in your heart. And if what I was saying was not a reflection of that, it wouldn't make sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
So all this stuff, LA's hard, there's social media. I get it. You don't got to tell me about the music industry. You just need to go share your gift. I love you, but you're not God.
No.
And you don't control what happens with your music. You don't control what other people think. You don't control what other people do. All you control is you. You're playing a one-player game called life. And all you control is you, your next move. And you can just try to do the best you can. And so just go do it. I love you. Don't tell me any more reasons why it's hard. And don't keep telling yourself why it's hard. Just go do your thing, share your gift, share your voice, and leave the rest to God. If you don't believe in God, leave the rest to life.
I believe in God.
And that's it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
You do believe in God. Now start acting like it.
I do.
Okay?
And it's nice to hear it from an artist that's been there and still doing his thing and being able to, to give me that positive reinforcement. So I really, really appreciate it.
I
really
appreciate you. I love you.
Love you. Peace.
I want to know about what the writing process looks like to you. So I'm a teacher, but recently I've found that I've been going through some hard times, and that writing has been like an outlet for me to just pour my heart out. And I write it and I have it on my computer or in my notes, but I don't know what to do with that. I want to get it out, but I don't know anything about getting my words out there, whether it's writing a song or writing a book. And I know that you have a lot of experience writing, and wanted to know what that looks like for you.
Are you writing music or is it prose?
Well, the thing is, I don't have a music background, but I do write the lyrics to what I would like for it to be a song. But since I don't have that background, I just go with what I'm feeling at the moment and just write my feelings out as if it were a song. And I don't know, I haven't met anyone that writes just lyrics and doesn't have the musical background. So that's why I'm a little lost and needed guidance to see what I should do.
So I'm gonna restate because I want to make sure I'm understanding you correctly.
Yeah.
You're writing what you think are lyrics to songs, and you want to turn them into songs, but you don't have the musical background. You just are writing the lyrics.
Or maybe I can just publish it as, in a book, like if it were poetry. I don't know what way to go with it.
Well, I don't know what way for you to go either. But listen, I'm warmed up. There's a way for you to do either. You're a powerful being, and you're touching the lives of youngsters, and I honor you for that. Your profession. And what I'm hearing is you have a creativity that you want to share.
Yeah.
And so you can do anything, and either of those things are possible, and probably easier than you might think. I don't want to say you have the same answer as our last guest, but a little bit.
Yeah.
In that, if you wanted to find someone who did music and had a gift for melody and was looking for lyrics, and I'm sure you could find that online. And there are a lot of those people out there. A lot.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot. And I bet there's some people in your city. There's probably some people within a 5-mile radius of you that are making some beats in their dorm room and would want to collaborate.
Yeah.
And or is it a book of poetry? I don't know. That's really for you to decide, you as the artist.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing, the answer to your question, I think your question is not touching on the real issue. The real issue is you're a little in your head.
Yeah.
You made this thing, and now you're thinking about, what's the best way to share it? You're analyzing them. So the best way to deal with analysis paralysis is to just pick a direction and go. You could choose the music one. You could choose them both at the same, but you got to start moving. And you could tonight post something you've written on one of your accounts. It wouldn't be a book, it wouldn't be a song, but it would be shared. You could post on Medium, it would be shared. So I don't know what the right answer is. I'm not volunteering to be your manager. Although if your material's really good, send it here first. No. I'm joking. But what I know is these kinds of uncertainties, I'm not sure, how do I do it? They're really consuming when we're not doing it. And once you start moving in a direction, they'll disappear and you'll actually feel happiness. You ever get sick, and when you're getting sick and you're getting more and more sick at the beginning, it's really dreadful, isn't it?
Yeah.
And maybe you move from like a 5, like for if 0's healthy and we go to 10, like is really sick. You go from like a 0 to a 3, and as you're getting more and more sick to a 5, it's really like, for me, it's really like kind of depressing because you're just getting more and more sick. Now you're at a 7, you're at an 8, and let's say your sickness peaks at an 8. And then you start to get better.
Yeah.
And you go from an 8 to a 7. I'm happier when I'm on that 7 moving in the right direction than I am when I'm at a 2 moving in the wrong direction. Is this true for you?
I understand that.
Yes. So what I'm saying is, the second you make some kind of decision and go, this is going to start feeling really cool. And maybe you change paths and you want to choose something different, but you're going to be moving. And once you're moving, this question is going to disappear.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. And what you're saying, when you were saying that, I thought about my students. I just feel like, because I'm a teacher, I think if I am telling my children, because I talk to my students like you're talking to us right now, try to motivate them to follow their dreams, to try it out, to never give up. But I have to tell that I realize I have to tell that to myself too, if I want to truly embody that example. And like, just listening to you, I'm like, I talk to my students like this. Why am I not doing it? But thank you.
Yeah, I really honor you for wanting to embody that lesson. And the things that come up for you on this process will be lessons you impart to them. And you already know that. It sounds like that's part of why you're even considering it in the first place. So it's really beautiful. I honor you. I'm sure you're a wonderful teacher. And hey, if you're talking like me, you must be a wonderful teacher. I'm joking. It's just really beautiful. It's really beautiful that you recognize that, and you're still growing yourself. And as you grow yourself, like I always say, I'm a student and a teacher at the same time. You're a teacher and a student at the same time. So thank you for your question, and I'm sure that'll be impactful to many others as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, God bless you. Bye. All right, y'all. Posner out. Absolutely. Love you guys, and keep going. And God bless you all, and keep you all in my prayers. And look forward to chatting more. Bye.